For nearly 20 years, I worked as a drainage engineer, solving flood problems most people never even noticed. When I built a protective berm on my own land, I wasn't trying to make headlines. I was simply protecting my property the right way. Every measurement followed county regulations, and every permit had been approved months before construction even started. The berm wasn't an eyesore. It was carefully designed to redirect seasonal stormwater away from nearby homes. Everything changed the morning the HOA president marched onto the edge of my property with a clipboard and an attitude. She didn't ask questions. She immediately declared that my berm was ugly and demanded it be removed. I calmly explained that the berm sat entirely on my private land and had already been approved by county engineers. She barely glanced at the documents before insisting that HOA rules came first. Before leaving, she slapped an HOA violation notice against my chest and warned that daily fines would continue until berm disappeared. I simply folded the notice and tucked it into my jacket beside my county permit. That evening, I reviewed every engineering report one more time. The data hadn't changed. The berm wasn't a problem. Removing it would be. The next morning, county inspectors confirmed exactly what I'd already known. The berm fully complied with every regulation, and they had no intention of revoking my permit. Instead of accepting the county's decision, Linda called an emergency HOA meeting. She convinced several homeowners that my berm somehow threatened the entire neighborhood. 3 days later, heavy equipment rolled toward my property line. The HOA had apparently hired contractors before anyone bothered checking, who actually had legal authority. As thunder echoed across the valley, I handed the foreman copies of every legal permit. He paused, looked at the paperwork, then slowly lowered the excavator bucket, while everyone waited to see what would happen next. The foreman quietly admitted he couldn't remove anything without verifying the legal paperwork. Linda's face turned red as her carefully planned confrontation suddenly stalled. Within an hour, a county inspector confirmed the obvious. My flood berm was completely legal, and no one had authority to remove it without a county order. Embarrassed by the county's decision, Linda called another emergency board meeting that same evening. Instead of backing down, the board voted to hire private contractors anyway. At sunrise, the contractors returned with even more equipment. This time, they were determined to finish the job before county officials could intervene. Against my repeated warnings, the machines carved a massive opening through the berm. Months of engineering disappeared in less than 30 minutes. The moment the barrier disappeared, I noticed the water following the exact path my flood models had predicted. The storm hadn't even arrived yet. That night, the Weather Service issued a flash flood warning for our entire area. Looking at the radar, I realized the timing couldn't have been worse. By sunset, the sky had turned nearly black. Neighbors rushed inside as the first heavy drops of rain began falling across the community. Within an hour, the rainfall became relentless. Without the berm to redirect the runoff, thousands of gallons of stormwater rushed toward the lowest point in the neighborhood. As midnight approached, water spread across the clubhouse parking lot faster than anyone expected. Standing on higher ground, I already knew this was only the beginning. By 1 o'clock in the morning, the clubhouse parking lot had disappeared beneath muddy water. The runoff was following the exact path my engineering reports had predicted months earlier. Linda shouted orders in every direction, but there was nothing anyone could do. Water was entering the clubhouse faster than it could be pumped out. Emergency crews worked through the storm, trying to save the building from even greater damage. Every passing minute, the water climbed a little higher. Inside the clubhouse, expensive furniture floated across the lobby, while muddy water ruined hardwood floors and carpets. Years of luxury vanished in a single night. When daylight arrived, county engineers immediately inspected the site. It took only a few minutes for them to understand exactly what had caused the flooding. My original drainage plans clearly showed how the berm redirected stormwater away from the neighborhood. Removing it had allowed nature to reclaim its original path. For the first time since we'd met, Linda had nothing to say. The evidence surrounding her was impossible to argue with. County officials explained that the flooding wasn't caused by excessive rainfall alone. The unnecessary removal of permitted flood control berm had dramatically changed the drainage system. Homeowners demanded answers about the millions of dollars in damage. The same board that insisted my berm be removed now faced some very difficult questions. Watching the sunrise, I realized this had never been about winning an argument. Sometimes the land itself delivers the strongest lesson, and it always follows the laws of nature, not the opinions of an HOA. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this HOA story, don't forget to subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another unbelievable HOA showdown. And tell us in the comments, where you watching from? We'd love to hear from you.